Hey guys, the name is Kris Barocsi. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little different than usual. I don't really react to new music releases at all, on this channel at least. And still, I just listened to John Mayer's new album, the Sob Rock, and I have so many thoughts. I want to share it with you guys. Some of the things we're talking about in this video are going to be sound and guitar tone and just album mix related, and some will have to do with the vibe, the obvious thing, the elephant in the room, the 80s vibe of the album and the whole marketing thing around it. In case you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and leave us a comment below. Also check out the description box under the video if you want to know more about the gear I'm using and just additional infos, timestamps, etc. So why do I think John Mayer nailed pretty much everything about this new album? Well, I have a couple of thoughts and points, and the first is going to be a pretty obvious one, but it's important, of course. His fans are waiting for a new album to drop for years. The Search for Everything came out, 2017? So it's like 4 years ago. That's a long time if you want to have some fresh stuff from John. My second thought was that it's a great idea and a great timing to go for this 80s vibe. Why? Because people obviously are craving for better times again. Like, we like to look back before the pandemic. Also, the 80s is far enough in our past that it's time for a revival. It's cool again, basically. Look at all the people with the high-waist jeans and everything. If I translate that to the album, Sob Rock, its sound, like the guitar tones and the whole mix and everything, it sounds sort of fresh, but we also heard this sound, this mix, this mastering many times before, so it sounds familiar too. My next point is pretty simple, but it's very important too, so it needs to be said. The songs are great, regardless of the style, whether it's 80s or not 80s or whatever it is. I had time to listen to the album a couple of times, like 4 or 5 times, and I have 3 to 4 songs already, which I love a lot. I have to cheat because I didn't have time to memorize all the titles, but like, shouldn't matter, but it does. Awesome song. Wild Blue, come on. Till the Right One Comes, and the last one, All I Want Is to Be With You. These are just great songs, and we'll talk about the last song, All I Want to Be With You, in a second. It's gonna be interesting. My next thought was why John nailed this whole thing, is that this whole 80s thing was a surprise to most of us. I mean, we didn't really expect this to come, like this much in our faces. And yeah, it's just something people will talk about, which is great marketing, to be honest. And obviously he teased this whole vibe with New Light when it came out, which is also on the album, of course, and it just fits perfectly in the picture. And then I followed this thought and I realized he is creating a wave. I mean, possibly, we cannot tell yet, but I can totally see other artists following him with this 80s flair and everything. So he's creating a wave instead of riding the wave of others, which not many can do. After listening to the album a couple of times, I realized that the real genius move is that it still sounds like him. It sounds like John Mayer, regardless of all the 80s vibes and all the chorus on the guitar and the Strat second position tones and all that. Every note sounds unquestionably like him, and that's very hard to achieve. I mean, this is pretty much a concept album with a certain strong style and vibe. It's really hard to still sound like you when you're consciously writing songs and licks and melodies to fit in a certain concept. If you ever wrote songs this way, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like the song Wild Blue, with a very strong, like, Dire Straits mojo, but also with some Jack Johnson kind of chilled vibes. And it still sounds like a Mayer song. All right, enough of this. Let's talk about the album's mix and mastering and guitar tones and everything. They obviously used a lot of 80s sounds, synths, all these old school pad sounds, and how they mix the drums, and lots of chorus on the guitar, lots of second position on a Strat style guitar. But they didn't take themselves too seriously. It is still a modern 2021 mix and mastering. I personally cannot stand most of the 80s mixes. I'm not talking about music, just the mixes, because they just all sound too plasticky and way too wet. Like, they put all the reverb on the drums and everywhere, and then some more reverb on top of that. It's just way too wet. But the Sob Rock is mixed perfectly. It gives you that old school vibe, but it sounds way more real, like way more natural, which makes it really enjoyable to listen to, even for people like me who struggle with all these 80s recordings thanks to the massive amount of effects. And here's a little hidden treasure. I discovered a probably unwanted tribute to a very successful 90s boy band, the Backstreet Boys. Tell me why. I mean, just listen to the last song on the album, All I Want Is To Be With You, and replace the last line of the chorus with, but I want it that way. And then you will have to sing, Tell Me Why. It's funny. But I want it that way. Tell me why. I mean, these things happen all the time. It's just 4 notes or whatever. So it's just funny. I find it really funny. It clicked immediately when I heard the song the first time. All right, let me know what you think about the album, or just John Mayer, or whatever new album you're excited about. Let me know in the comment section below. We will see each other next week in a new video, and you guys take it easy. I'll be back. Bye-bye. Today's video is a little different. Yeah. Because my mic doesn't point at my mouth.